It wasn't that long ago that I shared an experience that I had with members of the shul. It was the experience that I had on the first morning when we began to daven again, right after a couple of days after Shavuos. And some of you may remember, Chazar is always good. I looked out my window early in the morning and saw tents, and I saw people standing under those tents with talis and tefillin on, and all of a sudden I started to hear the words of the davening, and the only words that I could possibly go through my mind were "Matov Alecha Yaakov V'Shesech Yisrael." So some time has passed since then. It's been a long summer. It's been the beginning already of the fall, and we're, believe it or not, ready for the next of the Shalosh Regalim. So that story happened shortly after Shavuos, and now we're holding by Otot, just about to begin the celebration of Sukkot. And of course, the imagery of tents is the imagery of Sukkot. You can't get more of an imagery of Sukkot. So either whether you understand that the Sukkos were the Sukkos Mamish, or the small tent-like structures that Klal Yisrael lived in for the 40 years, or whether they refer to the Ananei Kavod, and the truth is they're both true. That the Ananei Kavod also, in a sense, a form of an Oel, the Oel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Oel of Hashem Yisbarach, protecting over His beloved people. So definitely the imagery of tents is a moving imagery, an important imagery at this time of the year as well. So I wanted almost to follow up a little bit of that drasha, and as I've said many times in the past, I like to share personal stories. A lot of people like to quote other stories from other people, and those are wonderful, and those are great. A lot of Gedolim stories and Rebbe stories, and they're wonderful, for Kol HaKavod. But I'm not the Rebbe and I'm not the Gadol, but at least when I tell a story, I can say with certainty that it happened because I was the Baldover, because I saw it happen with my own two eyes. Doesn't mean you always know that it happened because I'm telling it to you, but hopefully, so I'll share with you a follow-up to the 10 story that just occurred just a few short days ago as well. So some of you were actually part of it, so you are more the players in the story than I was. I was really the spectator in the full sense of the word. It was the day after Yom Kippur, and not all that long ago. It was the day after Yom Kippur, and as I'm sure you all realize, so there was a transformation of tents going on in the backyard. The big, I don't know, for lack of a better term, circus tents, the big giant tents that, of course, Baruch Hashem, we had for the Yom Noraim. So they were coming down, and the reality was we had to now bring back the red tents, bring back the old tents, so to speak, the daily tents for the next, I can't even begin to say how long, the next stage, phase, whatever the official term is in terms of what we're holding right now. But at least for the time being, of course, we need those little red tents back again. So sometimes the building of tents and the taking apart of tents is not always in our control in terms of timing. We're a little bit subject to the whims and the schedule of the tent company. So it just happened to be that, as I'm sure you all know, I'm still haven't yet returned to shul setting, but I was looking outside my window, and it was just about time for a mincha, and I saw that the company that had just finished, clearing out the stuff in one of the backyards, and there was almost like a mad rush to get some of these red tents up. So you may be wondering, what's the big deal? So put them up later tonight it was pouring rain. It was mamish pouring. Those who remember the day after Yom Kippur, late in the year, it was pouring rain, and it was become very, very difficult to daven. So it was almost like a surreal imagery that people were walking into the backyard with umbrellas. It was pouring, monsoon raining, and people were scrambling and trying their best just to put these tents chick-chock. They weren't even being secured down in enough time, just to get the red tents back up, just for mincha, for a ma'ir, for tomorrow shachar, just a little mash, a little something. And I'm watching that imagery. I felt almost helpless. I couldn't, under normal circumstances, but I ran downstairs with my umbrella and my raincoat, trying to pitch a tent. I don't know, maybe I'm not the best at pitching a tent under normal circumstances, but my hands were tied and my feet were tied. I couldn't even go downstairs to help. So I'm standing there and watching the scene unfold of you, of our beloved members of our Torah, trying against all odds to try to pitch these tents for the purposes of just barely bikoshi davening in mincha. And another pasuk came to my mind. The whole series of psukim in Pashas Baloscha. Over Akimis Mishkan, Kisa Ananas Ola Mishkan. Psukim describe when the Mishkan was finally constructed, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Anania Kavod finally returned to Klal Yisrael, which is of course the celebration of Sukkot. That is the celebration of Sukkot, is the return of the Anani HaKavod and the protection of the Anani HaKavod for all the years in the Midbar. And what do the Psukim say about the Anani HaKavod? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us with the Anani HaKavod. The Anani HaKavod are also a sign as to when the Jewish people have to move, when they have to travel. And when do they have to travel? Api Hashem Yachim, Api Hashem Yisrael. And the Psukim say, and it's almost like a little bit redundant. Psukim say sometimes they would be in a particular place for a year, and sometimes it would be for a month, and sometimes it would be for a couple of days. Sometimes it could be one day, it could be one night. We don't know. The common denominator is it doesn't matter how long you're in any given place in the desert. Boom, Api Hashem Yachim, Api Hashem Yisrael. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the word, when the Anani HaKavod go, when the Chatzotzos, the silver trumpets blow. So every Jew, man, woman, and child picks up little pebbles, little belongings, and boom, that's how we travel through the Midbar. That's the imagery of the Anani HaKavod. I thought to myself, Ashereichem Yisrael, look at Klal Yisrael. 2 weeks earlier, we were davening in small red tents, but now comes Yom Narayan, and we need the bigger tents. So we put up the bigger tents, and now comes the Motzei Yom Kippur, and the big tents come down, and now the small tents come back up, and it's going to be Sukkot, and for whatever it is, the big tents, the small tents, the big tents, the small tents, it's raining, it's not raining, it's pouring, it doesn't matter, None of that matters. The only thing that matters is Api Hashem Yachim, Api Hashem Yisrael, that we have to daven Shachris B'Kamayr, and we have to do whatever we have to do. And we have to do it in a safe way. And we have to do it in a logistically, practical way, and whatever it means. Nobody has any kashas. Nobody has any tightness on the Rebbe Shalom. How come we don't turn to the Rebbe Shalom? The Rebbe Shalom, how come 5 minutes before Mincha it had a rain pouring? Why? Kash Shalom Aisa. Kash Shalom. You can ask whatever questions you want. Those are not the questions that we ask. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kitchein Gozer Chach Mesecha. So, I think this imagery is the powerful imagery of Sukkot. That Sukkot is that imagery of Api Hashem Yachim, Api Hashem Yisrael. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu says to live in a house, we live in a house. And when the Kadosh Baruch Hu says to go out of a house, we go out of a house. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu next week will say, "Come to." I'm not going to comment Shmini Atzeres and Torah and the Reis and the Rabbanim, but there'll come a point we're going to come back into our houses. Api Hashem Yachim, Api Hashem Yisrael. And of course, the imagery is so much more profound for us at this time, as we're almost, I think we're still, in a certain sense, maybe it's just the Erev Yontif atmosphere, that it's still almost like that feeling of disbelief. There's still, I think there's almost, and again, maybe only I'm feeling that, I'm feeling many people are feeling that it's kind of like not real. Like we still haven't wrapped ourselves reality around what's going on us. This is the third of the Shalosh Regalim that we're about to celebrate in Yetz Hashem under unique circumstances. We're about to complete the entire Yontif cycle Midaraisa. I'm afraid to say the whole Yontif cycle because we're back with Chanukah. I don't want to say one thing or another. Chanukah is the only Yontif that has not yet been touched by this Machala. As we about to embark upon again a Yontif, and especially the Yontif Sukkos, with so much uncertainty in the air, how can we comfort ourselves? And I think the only comfort we could have is we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what an hour, we don't know what a minute from now. Nobody knows. We don't know. Some of us have had very, very difficult the last 2 weeks. Some of us, have been ill in the last several weeks. We hope and pray those who are feeling better, Baruch Hashem. I think for the most part, where the people are feeling a little bit better physically in the community. So we hope and pray that they continue to feel better. Nobody else gets sick. Hopefully, B'Etz Hashem, many who are on quarantine, the quarantines will be ending soon, and some are still a little bit behind. B'Etz Hashem, their quarantines will end soon also. And I think that almost this feeling of uncertainty, as we spoke about in the past, can create a very real anxiety. It's very, very natural and normal. So what can we do to combat that anxiety of uncertainty? I think those are the psukim in Parshas Baloscha. That there was a lot of uncertainty in the Midbar. They never knew what the next day was going to bring. If you think about it, they went to sleep every night without really knowing, is there going to be fun tomorrow? Without really knowing, is there going to be the air tomorrow? Without really knowing, is there going to be an Anani tomorrow? Without really knowing, is the Kadosh Baruch Hu going to say, okay, now that you finally got yourselves comfortable, now everything's good. We're sitting in the middle of, you have Dvasach or a Gidgon, look at Pashas Masi over there. We finally made ourselves comfortable. We got used to the surroundings. Things are, the kids are relaxing. Now we're in a routine. Things are good. Boom. Come to Chatzaitis and say, Hashem Yachar Hashem Yisrael. I say that's life. Life is a travel. Life is a travel through a midbar. Life is with all the travails and all the uncertainties of life. And if anything, that's the message of Sukkot. The imagery, Mitzvah Hashem tonight, in a few hours from now, everybody look up at Yitzchak and look up at just how frail life is. Life is not a mansion. Life is a little hut. Life is under the stars. But the greatness, the greatest nechama we could possibly have in this time and throughout life is, yes, it's true, it's very frail, but Rabbi Hashem Yachar, Rabbi Hashem Yisrael, Kadosh Baruch Hu is with us. Kadosh Baruch Hu is watching us. The secrets of this world, the secrets of the universe are in the hands of Kadosh Baruch Hu. What is for us to do under all circumstances, Baruch give us a siyat d'shmaya, have a wonderful sukkahs with all the uncertainties. Baruch should give us a lot of simchas hayom. We should be able to fulfill the mitzvahs hayom properly. Mitzvah Hashem, beginning with the mitzvah sukkah tonight, and Lulav and Esther picking up the mitzvah Hashem starting on Sunday. So mitzvah Hashem, we should go mechayel l'chol together as a community, and that Baruch should be porous leinu sukkahs shalom aleinu v'kalam Yisrael. Everybody good Shabbos and a good Yom Tov.